Hey, welcome to the video. Here I am talking about 2024 goals. And here's the weird thing about it is I didn't plan this video at all. I sat down 1 second ago and I thought, oh yeah, I haven't recorded that video yet. And then I was like, oh, might as well just start. I have thought roughly about my goals, but I haven't actually written them all down because I'm not doing anything new for 2024. Okay, I'm doing new things, I'm doing things in 2024, but none of it is I'm changing my life for 2024. No, I'm just continuing to do what has worked well for me, and there are some milestones that I hope to hit. For context, I'm Melissa, I write books. I, at the moment, have a first draft of a book. I have a almost fourth draft, almost querying book, and I'm also querying another book. I did that in a weird order. But I'm gonna kind of separate them out into writing goals and then YouTube life other goals. You don't need to know everything, okay? Let's take a breath. First, starting with writing goals, let's start with some habit type goals that I want to implement. And again, like I was saying, it's not really anything new, but I would like to be having writing be my baseline essentially. So I'm writing more than I'm not. I want it to be a weird day when I don't write. Also, I don't know if the red is ominous. In the background, it feels a little ominous, but I was like, Christmas, I don't know. And so along with that, the time that I would like to be writing most days is between that 5:30 to 7 mark. Right now, it's been more 6:30 to 7:30, but I'd like to be waking up just a little bit earlier than I am right now and start around 5:45 or 6. Start writing so that I have a full hour and a half ish in the morning. I like to do that in the morning because then by the time I get to the evening where I'm often tired or there a lot of times there's random things that happen in the evening, so it's never as consistent. Then there's not this pressure. I can write if I want to, but I can also just do other things and not feel, I don't want to say guilty because I'm trying not to feel guilty when I don't write. I have that feeling of oh, I haven't quite done that yet today if I don't write right away in the morning. And I also just really love the creative mindset in the morning. I think mostly because that's a time where I'm not likely to be interrupted. In the evening, there's always the possibility of oh, let's grab dinner after work. Oh, here's this thing you're gonna go to. Let's go to the gym. There's always these other things that can come up in the evening, but those things don't really exist in the morning for me. So there's not really an excuse for me to not write except for myself. And that's been working well for me, especially in NaNoWriMo. So I'm hoping to continue that on in the new year. Some new things that I'd like to start trying with writing is to actually learn some things about craft. And so whether that be reading books or listening to videos, there's just things that I just haven't really looked at or learned really that I have just kind of taken in through osmosis, but I'd like to actually kind of dig into some of that stuff this year. I don't really have a plan for that though, so it probably won't happen unless I actually make a plan for it. In terms of projects, the things I would like to accomplish, let's kind of go through the year. So the first major goal I have is to query Project Groove, which does have a tentative title. I'm not going to share that until I don't know, maybe I'm querying, I'm not sure yet. That I would like to be querying, I would say for sure by March. I'm giving readers through the middle of January to get me feedback on it. It's not quite finished editing on my end for this round, but I'm giving people hopefully next week. And so then I'm giving them 2 or 3 weeks. And then I want to give myself a month to make any changes, right? And in that time, I will be writing my query synopsis, all that stuff, while it's with readers. That's kind of the first part of the year for me. But when I'm not creating a synopsis and query letter and all that stuff, I don't think will take all up until I get reader feedback returned. I will also be starting draft 2 of Project Gas Station. And so that's the other goal, is I'd like to have another draft of it done. I kind of did a timeline of throughout the year. I'd like to have draft 2. And when I say draft 2, this is a draft where I'm not really changing anything specific. I'm more transcribing it from the dictation. If you don't know, during NaNoWriMo, I dictated. So I spoke voice to text the book. And so that means there's no punctuation or dialogue tags and a lot of things are spelled wrong, or there's just a lot of cleaning up to do. And so this first draft which is draft 2 essentially, is really just taking that and making it into like a readable document without really changing major things intentionally. And then from there, I'll kind of make a revision plan. So there's no revision plan that I have in my head going into this next draft of Gas Station. Sounds so ridiculous to say. It's more just like a translation. So it shouldn't take as long as a typical revision would. I hope to do that like kind of in conjunction with the querying stuff, like the querying prep. So having that done around April or around March would be nice, because then for Camp NaNoWriMo, I'd like to do another draft. So after this initial translation draft, then I will read through it and make a revision plan just internally with me. When I feel like it's at a good point with me, then I will send it to readers, typically after draft 2 or 3. In this case, it'll be after draft 3. So my hope is for Camp NaNoWriMo, and I don't think I'm going to finish the whole 3rd draft in April, but kind of having the spring be draft 3, and then over the summer sometime having readers, and then revising that either August or September. If you've been following me for a while, that's kind of how Project Groove worked for me. I finished that first draft in February, the second draft around June, and then I had readers over July, and then in August and September, I did that revision on the reader feedback circle, if you will. So that's kind of my hope for this year as well, is that I'm able to get through it at a similar pace where by the time that NaNoWriMo, we're just really jumping ahead really fast. Time that NaNoWriMo comes around, I have a complete revised, like read by beta readers and revised from that draft ready by November so that I can start another project in November. Looking big picture, my three main goals are for writing, to query Project Groove, to get a solid revised beta read and then revised again version of Gas Station, and then to write the first draft of another book. She's bold. She has a lot of goals. She has a lot of thoughts. We'll see. And again, this is all just kind of based on the pace I've been able to work at in the past. And so who even knows? And maybe, I'll query for a month and get a literary agent, and then I'll have to work on that. You never know. I feel good about Groove. I really do. But at the same time, I know the odds. I'm well aware of all of that. And so I don't take it as this like my worth and my value and my skill as a writer determined by whether or not I have a literary agent, because I just know there's so many things that go into that. So I talk more about that in a video that I can card up here, but my goals are not going to be focused on things that I can't control. So I'm not going to make it a goal to get a literary agent in 2024. I know that the quality and the caliber of my writing has improved a lot since the last book that I queried, that I'm currently querying. And so I'm closer to getting a literary agent, and it would be great, but it would always be great to get a literary agent. Like, I don't know that there's a writer out there who'd be like, well, maybe, I don't know. There's a lot of people out there with a lot of thoughts about a lot of things. If I move over to YouTube, again, I don't like to make goals about things that I can't control. So it's difficult to make a subscriber goal or anything of the nature, but it's not like I'm not doing it for the money because I'm not making any money. It's really a tool for me to be accountable and to build community. And so I think with YouTube, my goal, I would love to get to 1,000 subscribers. That would be amazing. Grow is essentially what I'm saying, but I'm not going to like do all these trendy, cool videos to try to grow. Like, maybe I'll do a couple. Honestly, I probably will. I just like to keep making the content that I'm making and continue to use YouTube to hold myself accountable. And so I think I have more of a qualitative goal. Like, a very large percentage of my content is writing vlogs. And that was always my intention with this channel, is to have a space where I can A, keep myself accountable by filming myself writing and posting it so that I actually write during the week, and B, to talk about these random writing topics that most people in my life don't really get the way that you guys get it. That's kind of reflective in my content. So I'll continue to do this Thursday chatty writing video about just random things going on. And then we're writing vlogs. So that's what you can expect. If you like, I would say one of my goals for YouTube is to use it to build connections for other people. So I'll have a video coming out in January kind of about that. Hoping to make some more connections with other author tubers this year. and maybe do some collaboration and really like start to meet people behind the camera. That sounded weird. Meet people not just through their videos, but like through actually talking to people and like building community that way too. Another goal that I have that is not really related to writing is my social goal. Okay, so I really would like to be more social because I know like I operate well in social settings, but going to a social event is literally I don't want to do it. And like I'm talking about very specific ones where it's like there's this event where I'm going and I don't know anybody there, but I know if I went to enough of them, then I would meet people, and that's how you make friends, right? Is by like going to things. So my goal for 2024 is to have 3 social things a week, which is a lot. It's a lot of social things. I would love to be someone who can run a 5K. Actually, okay, here's the thing about it. I would actually like to be a person who can do a triathlon. Not like a full intense triathlon, like a sprint triathlon, which is like you run a 5K and swim a certain like half of what you swim in a real triathlon and then like bike half of, like it's like a mini version of a triathlon. I just want to be that person that can do a triathlon, and it's not me currently because I cannot run a mile. I cannot run a mile. It feels like I'm dying. So my goal is, actually that's what my goal is going to be, is to run 1 mile. And I'd also like to incorporate more regular like prayer and meditation into my life. And okay, this is a big one, and I need to figure out how to quantify it, because I can just say it, and then like, how do I actually live that, you know? And it is to like not be controlled by noise. Do you know what I mean? I feel like sometimes I fall into these ruts where I need to have something playing all of the time. It's hard even to admit that because it sounds so pathetic, but I think if you're living in a house with a lot of people, you're not, maybe not intentionally thinking about it, but you're often talking to people, there's always some sort of noise around, right? And so you don't often have to sit in your own company. And so oftentimes I'll find myself just watching the randomest videos and just absently scrolling on TikTok, like not even looking at it so that there's some sort of noise going on. Audiobooks, I mean, I like audiobooks, but oftentimes it's not just audiobooks. It'll be like random vloggers or podcasts that I've heard 1,000, like I've already listened to the whole podcast and I'm just doing it again just to fill that silence. And I want to be able to, when I wake up, get out of bed, get ready for the day in silence and not have that be intimidating. I'm really just airing it all out today. I don't know how to qualify that or quantify that. I'm going to work on that. I just want to consume content intentionally and be able to live in my own head. That's my thoughts. Let me know what some of your goals are. Are you a resolution person, or are you like, nope, just living my same life? I feel like I'm always sort of a mix. I'm excited to bring those habits into the new year and I kind of embrace the fresh start that it can bring. Well, I will see you in the next.